I just think that there's a lot that's being left unsaid by our class. These last 2 months, they've been really disappointing for our class. And I think that there's a lot that is being left unsaid. There's a lot to reflect on from our careers at Ignatius.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I mean, at the end of the day, we have a lot to think about, and we might have a lot of regrets we're looking back over, but we also have a lot of really great memories to talk about, but we're not able to really share those with each other anymore, or reflect on those experiences, like you said. So I think today and for the next few weeks, we're just hoping to talk with some guys who have really taken advantage of everything our school has to offer, and to really just give us, our whole class, the opportunity to really reflect on these great 4 years.
Yeah, definitely. So why don't we start off talking with some guys who were kind of really involved in like extracurriculars, because I think that that is something that almost everyone can relate to, but especially with the closure, it did affect a lot of the seniors, not only with closure of school in general, but also
Yeah.
with their clubs that they were in and their activities.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. Ignatius is about a lot more than just the classroom, right? And um, everybody in our class is involved in something else, has a really diverse set of interests, and Ignatius really fosters those possibilities. So I think, yeah, it should be a good time talking to these guys, and really just thinking about how we've grown through clubs through the past few years.
Yeah. It's pretty strange how our school year ended so abruptly in mid-March. None of us expected that our lives there would be cut short, like this.
Yeah, I don't. It felt like very double-sided, because like like the student and you, like it's like the lazy part. It's like, oh, like yeah, like we're gonna get off school for like a few weeks or whatever, and then a few weeks turned into the rest of the school year.
Yeah, well, it was an interesting situation because that came at kind of this pandemic came at a time in my life where extracurriculars kind of was dominating like all of my time.
One thing I guess about that is it wasn't all at once. Like, we ended up getting the news every week, like something else was canceled. It wasn't like everything being canceled at once. So that kind of slowed down, I think, my reaction as well as a lot of others, which I guess is a good thing in one sense, because it wasn't all at once, not all the disappointment at once.
Yeah, well, for Science Olympiad at least, everything was sort of canceled before school was. So I think it was that Monday or Tuesday, we got an email saying like the state tournament has been canceled. So basically the rest of our year was already done.
No, it was crazy. Like just how it was so weird. Like going off the Corona stuff, it was just so weird how like the day before, like we canceled school or whatever. It was like we were making jokes about like, oh, it'll be done in a month or something. It's nothing or whatever. It's just like the flu, so it'll be fine.
With the musical though, like that was just like bitter. I hated that. That honestly did suck, because it's like we worked for like 3 months on that show, and being seniors, like it's our last one to do. And even this summer, like because we moved it to July, but even that date isn't even a for sure thing.
Actually, the week that everything kind of got shut down, me and you were supposed to go to Michigan State for a Model UN conference.
But it was just like it happened so fast, and like so it made me start to think about about like memories I had about like extracurriculars that are gonna be canceled.
But it's just something that like obviously no one expected, and the biggest thing is no one can control it. It's just one of those things that happen. I think a lot of people are going to take out good lessons from this.
I mean, both of you guys we have those 2 rooms that we kind of hang out in all the time. So there was a lot that we could have still done despite our tournament being canceled.
Extracurriculars, I've always had something to do, which is sometimes overwhelming, but I think a lot of time it's rewarding. And I think it is kind of on one hand, it's kind of nice because, you know, I can just step back. But on the other hand, it's kind of like, you know, everything just kind of went away in a way, you know? Everything is different now. And you don't get to see the same people have the same experience that same growth that you used to.
Like, we're pretty lucky that we got to have most of our season anyway. I mean, there are a lot of spring sports and that didn't get to have that.
The rehearsals were like, I was having so much fun at rehearsals. You know, everyone has that senior mentality of like, you know, you're making everything count, you're enjoying your time. Like, it's like you don't even think like, you know, stuff would go wrong. It's like you're just flying high or whatever.
It's going to be weird looking back at this in a few years, just this whole situation, because we don't know how long it's going to go on. And all I can say, I don't think the world's going to be the same.
So you talked about Science Olympiad. Can you tell us about some other things that you're involved with?
Yeah, I do a lot with marching band. So I joined marching band sophomore year.
Let me think. I've been involved in a few things, mainly like Model UN, congressional debates.
Yeah, so it was crazy like how much I did, and I didn't even think like until I know it, like until quarantine happened and stuff, that I was able to like look back and look at how much I did.
Extracurricular wise, I started Model UN as a freshman. That was kind of one of my main clubs.
I started doing the musical Ignatius and joined the Harlequins.
Yeah, I've been doing, so like the name of the program is like the Harlequins program. That's like the official title of it. And I've been doing it since the beginning of my sophomore year, which is the first year that Mr. Hoover, well, he came here our freshman year, and then he started directing the shows here like the next year there. So the first play we did was The Odd Couple. I was in that.
They always talk about service. Like, service was so great at Ignatius. That's what when I shadowed 8th grade, that's what everyone said, was like, oh my God, the service opportunities are great.
And then as I moved throughout Ignatius, I picked up more clubs like peer tutoring, National Honor Society, Student Senate, the pallbearers.
It was during the time that I was trying to make the baseball team, was the Rupe Chamber Ensemble.
And then the next year we did Almost Maine in the fall, and then Wedding Singer in the spring. And then we did the Marvel pilot program this past fall, and then Mamma Mia was the spring musical we're about to do now. So, and besides, other than the drama program, I was in pallbearers, I was in the French club.
So what would you say, either band or Science Olympiad or whatever else, has been your most like impactful or your favorite memory or experience from the past few years?
I don't know if this really counts as extracurriculars, but I did the Irish Studies trip last year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Ignatius took me around the world. That's pretty cool.
And I think honestly the most like impactful experience for me was when actually this year I was able to win first place in that at least preliminary round. And to me, I think it was just kind of like a message of like how far I'd come in the activity and like how hard work really does pay off.
Last year too, I mean, we were pretty lucky last year. I got to go on a trip to Disney with the band too. And so as much as I love the school, I love hanging out in the Science Olympiad rooms or in the practice rooms, band practice. But I think my best memories are when I'm not there, when we travel with people. And, yeah, so.
All right, yeah, so my favorite memory at Ignatius would have to be being around Reagan impersonator for the Harlequins when we put on the Wedding Singer.
One immediate thing is our second last Model UN meeting, or Model UN conference, was actually supposed to be the weekend that everything got shut down, and that was going to be at Michigan State.
Because for me, you know, I think myself personally, and I think a lot of people kind of see like all these like inspirational messages we hear, like hard work pays off or you can do anything. We kind of like see that as just like white noise, you know, just kind of, we hear it so much that we become desensitized to it. And
just like the closure with Model UN in general, because with the last conference, for those who don't know, Model UN in general is Mr. Arco takes all the seniors out to a nice dinner, and it's a good like closing ceremony, which we weren't able to have this year. And then just all the other clubs stopping. Like, I know there's a lot of remote club meetings, but it's just not the same.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of what we missed out on with the States trip too this year.
Yeah.
Last year we brought home our first trophy, and since I'd been there, and I mean, it was a crazy bus ride home. Everyone was jumping up and down, and we were
Science Olympiad buses get crazy.
The experience of just being in the musical and working so hard, and just finding out that I like to dance, I like to sing, embracing that.
And I think, coming that far in that activity, which I was like so at best when I began, I think that really kind of affirmed that for me, that like, yeah, if you work really hard for something, you can get it.
We've had a lot of good experiences, and sometimes it's like the bus ride is the most fun part. So
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, those are the things that make your people's clubs great. Just that team bonding and the relationship building. I think those are the main takeaways we've heard in general from everybody. How do you think extracurriculars have essentially like shaped your high school career, and how they've shaped you down the road for the future?
Well, I'd say it's already helped me in my college paths.
My mom was always saying, John, you're like great at acting, you're great with people, you can talk to people, marketing, boom.
I think Ignatius just has such a wide variety of so many different clubs that I think like anyone can kind of find their way, and that's kind of what's helped me. Like I love going to Ignatius, but I don't think it would have nearly been as enjoyable if I hadn't found theater at Ignatius, because just like that program just made my 4 years there the best, like the most enjoyable 4 years I've had, and it's really helped shape my personality. Like it's helped me grow as a man for others and everything like that. Just shape my personality, shape my morals, my views.
Pallbearers Society, which the Saint Ignatius Pallbearers Society, Grace Society, that just kind of shows what Ignatius can do. Like Mr. Barron's talked to us a lot about other schools trying to start a similar thing. Ignatius kind of has its own niche with allowing students to step out of the classroom, and their teachers giving them permission to step out of the classroom and take time from class to go serve others.
And like doing, especially like our religious clubs like CAT, and working with doing large and working with the disabled and everything like that, it really helps you gain like a new perspective on life and helps you realize how grateful you should be for everything you've been given in your life. It really just gives you reality to check on a lot of things, and I think Ignatius does a good job with that with their clubs.
It was a scholarship weekend at Ohio State, and a lot of what it involved was, you had to give a speech in front of a room of people in like a small group. You had to work with other people. Those are the kind of skills that you're going to be using in the workplace, that you're going to be using in college. Working in a small group to prepare a presentation with other people, giving a speech in front of a large group of people, like your performance is being evaluated.
Because you're in marketing, you're selling stuff all the time. And you got to talk with people. So just making the experience of like gaining confidence and being able to talk in front of people, it really helped. It's just going to help in the future because everyone needs communication is a big key in everything.
I think so. This past week, Mr. Valinsky for our theology class, not to call him out or anything, but he sent us an article about choosing your college major.
Yeah.
I think it will help me because, I plan on being an attorney. And one of the things that you have to do as an attorney, like my dad tells me, is you have to work with people. You have to convince people. And I think those are going to be two big skills that I took away from Model UN and from debate that I'm going to be able to apply in college and in my career.
It opened up saying how like most college majors, you don't learn any of that stuff in high school and it's all brand new. But I definitely don't feel like that. I'm going to hopefully go into engineering in college. And with Science Olympiad, I already have a lot of those basic skills that I wouldn't have if I'd only taken, BC and AP physics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've got more of a focused area. I know what I want to go into.
Would you have like any piece of advice for the underclassmen or the younger incoming freshmen,
Yeah.
Guys like Danny Mullen coming in?
I'd say just get involved in what you want to get involved in, and don't feel like you have to be tied down to whatever sort of expectations you have coming in.
Freshmen out there, if I was talking to me coming in, I totally wish I did so much more freshman year, just tried like everything. There's so many opportunities that now that you saw as a senior, that if you started freshman year, it's like everyone like builds up to that point and then become leaders of those extracurriculars.
I remember I made like a list of all these extracurricular things I wanted to join when I was in 8th grade. So I was like, they have so much stuff there.
Yeah.
And I didn't really expect I'd be involved in really 2 main things, and that's it. But it's a good thing because I got so heavily involved in those that I was able to form that strong bond with those people. And so I think that's the most important thing, is maybe don't spread yourself too thin. Find those things you really like and sort of run with it.
You gotta just start working hard early. Every single day counts. Like 1 month of hard work could make such a big difference in either Model UN, tennis, whatever you're doing.
I mean, I would say, do what you enjoy.
I think the biggest piece of advice to give to any underclassmen is to really treasure every moment that you have at Ignatius. Like, I know that's such like, it's like a broken record to hear, like, oh, like cherish every moment, blah, 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 but like, it's never felt more true until we got affected directly by it.
If you feel like you don't have motivation to join an existing club, maybe it's because it doesn't conform to your interests. But I would say if there's not a club that kind of conforms to your interests, make one. I mean, that's what we did. We wanted to do hackathons, right? Me and some other seniors wanted to start a hackathon club because that's what we were interested in. We didn't have anything existing for that, but that's what we ended up doing.
If you're a sports guy, you're a sports guy. If you were a band guy, you're a band guy. If you're a musical theater person, you're a musical theater person. Model UN, everything. Everyone had their own thing. Public speaking. Everyone was doing their own thing, and everyone accepted everyone else for that.
Because we didn't get to say goodbye to our friends, we didn't get to say goodbye to our teachers, we didn't get to walk the hall one last time and kind of soak it in before we left. And it's just like, just really cherish every moment and don't take any of them for granted, because you never know when the next pandemic is going to happen and you don't get to see them anymore.
As a freshman, don't be afraid of what others will think about what you're doing. Like, everyone accepts you for what you do. That's the best thing that I loved about Ignatius.
It's definitely a long 4 years, and I think that's something that we forget, is how much time there really is to immerse yourself in different things.
Right.
Like, you could tell how much of kind of a gap there is from just 1 month. So just know that like the smallest amount of time still could yield the biggest amount of growth. So just start working hard early.
The last thing you want to do is like look back on your time and say, yeah, I went home at 3 o'clock every day.